Parker Fox, Matt Producer, Wednesday 9 to noon. At Parker Fox 24 via the X machine. How excited was Parker last night? Kentucky and Louisville.
Oh, so fun.
Michigan beat Wake Forest by a point in overtime. 10th ranked Florida edged Florida State by a couple. Big time college basketball was in the air. And P. Fox assumedly enjoyed it. Or did you watch any of it? Or did Taylor make you snap photos of the Northern Lights for hours? And good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Oh, what a fun night. We got Northern Lights. We got great college basketball. A little wild action. They unfortunately lost in overtime. But my night was spent watching a lot of college hoops, right, and highlighted by that Michigan-Wake Forest game. I got a kid from my high school, Will Underwood, give him a little shout-out, plays for Wake Forest. Didn't clock any minutes, unfortunately, but got to witness that game, and what a game that was. It's early, right? Like, there's mistakes, and there's things guys won't do, turning the ball over down the stretch, calling bad timeouts, the whole deal. But, like, that's the fun in it.
They're just kids at a time.
They're just kids.
And they're kids on the move.
That's right.
At a time.
That's right.
What's that mean? Michigan Wolverines starting 5 last night. Michigan Wolverines. I forgot to look up the ranking. They got to be top 10,
they're
top
6.
5.
Yeah, they're 6.
Squad.
So good.
Wolverines starting 5. What a world. 4/5 of the starting 5 is 4/5 of the starting 5 via the portal. We have Yaxel Lendeborg.
That's right. From UAB.
UAB got good for a little bit last year, right?
Well, because of him, he's a first team All-American type of talent. He's an NBA player.
Okay, well he wasn't great last night.
No,
but,
he wasn't.
Poor UAB. I mean, you find somebody nice like Yaxel Lendeborg, and you raise him and he leaves. Not great last night, but he's going to change games. How about Ade Mara?
Yeah, played him at UCLA last year. He's all of 7'5". He's huge.
7'5".
Oh, he's just.
I would have guessed 7'2".
No, he is like, and I think he's growing. They say he's growing too, so that's a nightmare in itself. And you know, when you see these 7'5" guys, a lot of them don't move well, or they're too skinny, and they're not coordinated enough to block shots. I don't know how many.
Yeah,
blocks.
like Taco Fall.
What do you have? He had 5 block shots last night.
I got the whole thing in front of me. 18 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks. Ade Mara.
And I'll tell you, he didn't do much at UCLA last year. I mean, when we played against him, he was out there and he impacted the game around the rim, that kind of stuff.
Because you neutralized him.
That's true. That's, my big body.
Yeah. Billy, Johnny, Christy, Susie, Tamika, and Antoine taking in the Michigan and Wake Forest game last night. Get to the arena. Like, okay, well, who's Ade? Dad, who's Ade Amara? Who's Yaxel Lendeborg? Billy, Johnny, Christy, Susie, Tamika, Antoine, calm down. Let me tell you about Morez Johnson Jr. One season at Illinois, flips to the conference rival.
Yeah, and my ring finger is still messed up from him. We were trying rings. Taylor and I were trying wedding bands for me down at Continental Diamonds, and I had the story from Morez Johnson. He snapped my ring finger at a 90-degree angle. We played Illinois last year, but just a tough dude. Obviously, an incidental type of thing, but such a tough dude, and he's going to impact that game. Their front court is as good as it gets across college basketball.
Elliot Cadeau.
Yeah.
Elliot Cadeau. He was a North Carolina guard last year.
Stud.
And then we have guard Namari Burnett.
Mm-hmm.
He's this old schooler's favorite player on the Michigan Wolverines. You know why?
Why is that?
It's his 3rd year there.
but he started at Texas Tech and then went to Alabama and then came there.
But at least he didn't be like, nah, that ain't it. I think I'm going to leave. Nah, that ain't it. I think I'm going to leave again. Nah, that ain't it. I think I'm going to leave again. None of this gets under your skin at all, does it?
No, I mean,
let's just do it again. Yeah. Lendeborg,
UAB,
led UAB, or was part of it, to quasi prominence last year. Ade Mara, UCLA last year. Morez Johnson Jr., Illinois last year. Elliot Cadeau, North Carolina Baby Blue last year. My favorite player, Namari Burnett, 3rd year at Michigan.
Yeah.
So 4/5 of the starting 5 via the portal, and if it's not to their liking, guess what?
Go somewhere else.
They'll leave again.
Yep.
And again and again. So good luck keeping those mid-majors relevant. But nothing to see here, right? Because those are the available avenues. Take the available avenues. I understand it, but Billy, Johnny, Christy, Susie, Tamika, Antoine, Derek, Nicole, Ava, Stella, and Laughing Crying Baby. All they're doing is looking for favorite players who can last year after year after year. They can get game warns as a freshman, sophomore, then maybe they leave, or junior, then maybe they leave. But that's just not the case.
Yeah, it's the question. Does it get under your skin? Yeah, it does, because I'm old school. Duke and North Carolina rivalry, and you're playing against that team for 4 years. The whole deal. Yeah, there's the NBA draft, and so I'm kind of old school in that way, but you can't fight it anymore. It is what it is. And you have to find ways as a college coach to win basketball games, to stay relevant. And when you have,
if you're a mid-major college coach, it's becoming, it's hard. Why find a blue chipper? You have no chance of keeping said blue chipper.
Well, here's the one thing that mid-majors do have is now these high majors, they're not taking as many freshmen, right? So you're taking the 5-star and the 4-star of these major programs because you can pay them. But the 3-star or the underrated kid, he's sliding into that mid-major, but then that kid turns into Yaxel Lendenborg at UAB, and by the time he's a junior, now he's at Michigan.
There we go.
You might get him for a couple years in his premature state, but then he matures and becomes a stud player, and now he's at a Power 4.
Do you think within, sorry to clump, but do you think within like certain rivalries? So you mentioned a couple of those cats were at Illinois, now they're at Michigan. I mean, that's in the same conference. That's obnoxious.
Totally.
But would you ever see a Blue Devil become a Tar Heel?
Oh, wow.
Or vice versa?
Wow.
Because there are still like, and this is hoops, but you know what I mean?
That's
like
a
helmet
great
school
question.
institutions where that just seems sacrilegious.
Yeah.
I just wonder when that line will be crossed. I don't believe, at least like high enders.
No.
There might be a bench player or a student manager that got 2 minutes in a non-conference game for one of these schools. But that seems impossible that would ever happen, that the Cameron Crazies would ever accept a player on the other side of Tobacco Road.
Illinois, Michigan ain't Duke, North Carolina.
No.
But I mean, it's a pretty heated rivalry.
Yeah, it is. And you talk about a guy in Morez Johnson who was young last year and played sparing minutes for Illinois. What makes him enter, right? Like what tips him off to go somewhere else? Well, he knows that his coach at Illinois, Brad Underwood, is just going to go over to Europe, and he's going to find these guys with I, V's, and C's in the back of his name, and he's going to play over them, So you got to be aware of that. So then you enter the portal. So then that's him protecting himself, right?
Fair.
Entering the portal is, here's Michigan with $1.5 million for my name.
Fair.
I'll go there. So I think it's one of those. But to answer Norval's question, I don't think so. I think that's a unique question, because you talk about.
Well, has it ever happened? I mean,
I don't think so.
Now I'm super intrigued.
Not off the top of my head.
Since the portal's become a thing, have we ever had in basketball Duke, North Carolina,
or like
Duke?
a Kansas type of situation? I don't think
Football,
so.
I bet no.
Alabama, Auburn.
Yeah,
things like that.
That probably is more common or could happen more than basketball, because you talk about your Duke guy, like if he's good enough, he's probably going on to the NBA draft. If he's not good enough, he's probably going to like Cade Tyson, who the Gophers have. He's averaging 25 and a half a game. He's top 20 in the country in scoring. Played for North Carolina last year. Like you don't play at North Carolina. You play 5 to 10 minutes. Well, you got to probably, not saying Minnesota's down a level, but it is in the eyes of college basketball. You move down a sort of level, and now he's averaging 25 and a half a game. So he's skilled enough.
Who was the cat at North Carolina? I think it was Caleb Love.
Yeah,
when they made that deep run, he ended up
Arizona.
He didn't go to Duke, correct?
Yeah.
So he could have knocked on the door, but John Shire's like, hands are tied, man.
Totally.
I mean, you were with the cult.
Totally.
Now you actually can't play for a team that is east of the Mississippi, and he has to become a Wildcat, just ousted from the entire state. It's not allowed.
Well, the fact that it's even like a thing, like it is technically allowed, is crazy. Because like back in 5 years ago, you would never have a guy. You're supposed to hate North Carolina if you're Duke, or you're supposed to vice versa. Like you're not supposed to be friends with those guys. And the fact that it could happen is, I don't know, it's wild. But that's the world we're living in.
Well, I bet you, interestingly, if the minutia was put together from when the portal opened, and then somebody leaves, and then it's not to their liking, so they can and will leave again, and then leave again. It's the percentage of players who transfer And they're doing it for their best interest, okay? And then somebody's taking them for the best interest of their team. So that mesh is okay. But the large percentage, the grandiose, massive percentage of these players leaving are not going to go to the NBA.
No.
So therefore, it is okay, my man playing 5 minutes at a blue blood, and he was recruited, and they like him, and you're on the squad, you're in Parker's chat, and you're watching the Northern Lights with the Fox family, and everything's cool, man, but you're not playing as many minutes as you would like. So has it been eliminated, the wherewithal and the work ethic within the covenant that gave you a chance to win more minutes or earn more minutes, or is it just, that ain't it, I'm out?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because I think there's the answer of the coach has his 8 guys. He's paid those 8 guys. So those are the 8 guys he's going to play. He doesn't care what you show 9, 10, 11 guys show you in practice, $100,000 guys show you in practice. The $1 million guys are playing because I paid them and my boosters told me to pay them. And
well, that's unfortunate.
I think there's a lot of politics in it. But I do.
So you're telling me if you hit on a kid from Drake and you get him to flip and he goes to a blue blood and he's getting $300K in NIL and you got somebody in front of him getting 1.1, but he's underachieving. That the transfer would not play over the higher NIL guy?
I mean, that's
ridiculous.
That's obviously, who knows what each coach is doing, but I do know that there's a lot of politics behind things, right? Like, who's giving you this money? Who's giving the coach the money to spend that? Yes, it's your money to spend, but hey, we want you to spend it on this guy, and we want this guy to play 25 minutes, and oh, this guy isn't working. Hey, can I go to my bench? No, this guy's going to work, type of situation, right? So that could be a specific scenario. But I do agree, PA, that's the one thing missing is, hey, let's put our hard hats on here. Let's go to work. Let's try to get better, not only for myself, but for my team, so I can impact winning. And that's got to be frustrating for some of those guys that aren't getting those opportunities.
Do you think this happens or will happen? And let's say in college football. Okay. Because, I mean, how many people, they got like 100 people, right?
At least, yeah. Those rosters are huge.
Yeah, I mean, there are a zillion people on the bench, dressed or undressed. Yeah. So the amount of players and the numbers are markedly more than basketball. So Joe Q, whomever, pretty good high school football player, not good enough to get a scholarship at, say, a blue-bloodish D1 school, and it happens to be in that individual's hometown. But dad has, or mom, they have 7 car dealerships. And here's the deal. You put my son on the team, and we'll start there, and I will put this into the program. You play my son, X amount of plays, minutes, what series, whatever, I increase it to this. Go ahead and tell me that doesn't happen.
It probably does. That's
so freaking slimy.
It stinks for the kid, the most part, in my opinion, right? Because, like, you want to have fun. It's the best 4 years. I did it for 8, so I had a lot of fun. But this is the most fun years of your life, And if you're in a situation where it's only happening because X, Y, and B are happening, you know that. Like, that's in the back of your head, So it's like you can't fully kind of be a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
I wonder if that keeps it from happening more often.
Yeah.
Where the kid's own awareness is like, I mean, I'm an L. Like, let's admit it here. I mean, I should not be played 25 minutes a game for this program.
Totally.
Okay. Well,
dad's offering a Range Rover and a little duffel of cash every year.
Yeah.
I'm with you, and that is 10 of 10. From a self-awareness standpoint,
gotta have it.
The way to look at it.
Yes.
It ain't 10 of 10 happening.
No.
I mean, because let's look at it this way. We got Joe QL from Tuscaloosa. We got the Crimson Tide, with all these roster spots looking to bring him in, going to follow the parameters here of let's say, John Lewis's law firm and how much money they're going to put into the program. Or the option is I go to this super small school, probably don't play football, and settle into a scholastic 4 years and go get a job.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say the majority of the kids or whatever are going to say, no, Dad, I would prefer to do this. I think they'd take the easy way out.
Yeah, I think, and that's a tough situation, right? Is when the parent or the adult wants it more than the kid wants it. And then it becomes I've seen that too many times with teammates, especially when I was at my Division II, where it's like, it's clearly your parents want this more than you. You don't like basketball. You don't enjoy the sport. Like, go do something that makes you happy, because it's a grind. Like, we worked 9 to 5s. I was at the facility every day from at least 9 to 5, probably more, because I had a, crappy body. I had to work on my knees and everything. I had to work on my game. I had to work on film, all that kind of stuff. But like, this is a full-time job. And if you aren't in it, like, we had a walk-on last year who stopped playing this year. And the first thing I texted him, I said, was like, good for you, because you identified, hey, this wasn't for me. I want to go do what I want to do with the last 2 years of college. I want to have fun. I want to get a good education, the whole deal. I don't want to spend 8 hours and flying to different cities and the whole deal. So it's like, the kid has to want it. You have to love it. And that's what I always tell kids. So in a roundabout way,
you told him it was an L.
No.
I always love that one.
I guess that comes off that way, unfortunately.
That's the way
but
he
it's
just
like,
said it.
But also it comes from a loving place, because I love the kid. I was with them for 2 years, but it's like, hey, this isn't for you. Go enjoy. Go do something that makes you happy. So I think there's truth in that. I don't know. Maybe there's not.
You could say too that, the way that this could happen at like an Iona, or some of these smaller schools, but you do get to the point where certain programs, the amount of money already coming in on the up and up, combined with the coach's salary, like Izzo, can't be bought.
No.
So the kid with the dad and the nepotism, whatever it is, you do reach a certain level where this might work at D2 school to get his name. There might be a name on a building thanks to a dad who owns XYZ publishing company. If this kid gets the opportunity to play, but you start trying to play that game with the big timers, they're like, no, I just go to the athletic department and they give me blank checks. Like, it's pretty sweet. I don't need
the John Lewis School of Law.
Right. I want to win games.
At the University of Alabama. I want to win games.
This is Titletown here. Come on.
And win championships.
Okay. Well, it's gone a little longer than we thought. So we're going to make this a marathon segment.
Do it.
Courtesy of Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. You got that cooktop fridge and everything all installed and everything, Nordo?
We're working on the delivery process right now.
And that would be free delivery. And with the L-related appliances leaving, there would be a free recycling.
Yes.
And guaranteed low prices.
Beer fridge in the garage.
stevesappliances.com, and here they are. Oklahoma City lost at Portland by 2 points a week ago and blew a 22-point lead in doing so. Since, they've won 3 by 23 points per game, destroyed Steph, Draymond, Jimmy the Bulldog, and all the right Warriors last night, just destroyed them, and absolutely looked like, by far, the best team in the game, and they don't even have two-way stud Jalen Williams for another couple of weeks, still out with a wrist injury.
Yep.
Is it hyperbolic or hyper-accurate to say everyone in the NBA is running for second, and it shouldn't even be disputed?
Yeah, I think it is. It stinks to say.
They're unbelievable. They're better than last year.
They're so good. And I like that you highlighted that Portland game, because I watched that game on League Pass, and it was one of those situations where it's like, hey, we're in control, and we got comfortable, right? Like, we got cozy. Shea didn't attack. Like, he was being unselfish, which is great, but hey, sometimes you need to take over games. You need to put the nail in the coffin. But I think sometimes some of those situations, they help you too. Because you remember back as, hey, what did we do in Portland a week ago when we had a 22-point lead? We blew it because we didn't put the nail in the coffin. So now you go and you play Golden State and you hold Curry to 11 points, Jimmy Butler to 12, Draymond Green to 3, and you just absolutely obliterate a really good Warriors team. Steph Curry with his first flagrant foul of his career. That's something to note as well.
Wow.
With the Zaza Pachulia closeout that they patented. Gotta let the guy land, right? We're protecting ankles here. But I think you're right, PA, is this Thunder team is unbelievable. They have some competitors in the West, but I think in a 7-game series, Shea is just way too much. He's looking to win the MVP again.
The Detroit Pistons are 9-2 and tops in the East.
Yep.
Cade Cunningham's November goes a little something like this: 31.8 points per game, 11 assists a game, 5 rebounds a game, and he's averaging 8 free throw attempts, making 7 of them on average. I don't think this will last, and here's why. A couple of weeks ago, speaking of League Pass, I caught Cleveland beating them by 21.
Yeah.
And Detroit had its top 7 with Isaiah Stewart and the Ronald Holland trick on the bench. And the Cavaliers just like, all right, well, you know what? This is ridiculous. Let's beat them. And they just killed them. How about your Pacers? Now, your Indiana Pacers. They go to the NBA Finals last season, lose to the Thunder. They lose Halliburton for the year due to injury. Miles Turner scoots to Milwaukee. The Pacers are 1-10.
They're terrible.
The Hoosier State can't be happy about all this.
Oh, they are like atrociously bad. I'm an NBA League Pass guy, so I'll flip them on. Hey, this team was in the finals last year. Let's see what they're made of. They think they're still really upset about the Miles Turner deal, and I don't think anybody's publicly coming out and saying it, but you just went to the finals. Yes, I understand Tyrese is out for the year and he's hurt, but like let's try to run this thing back. Let's try to get back to the playoffs. Let's try to, we have a tough, gritty team. We got some good bench players in Nemhart and Neesmith and a couple of these other guys. Like, can't we figure it out somehow? Benedict Mathurin, but no, and they look completely out of sorts.
If there's one player on the Pacers, who is frustrated, Miles Turner didn't get what he felt requisite contract offer from the Pacers, got more from the Bucks, and got a chance to play with Giannis with Tyrese Town.
Yeah.
If one person voices an opinion or privately, even as a source, and is like, this sucks, he shouldn't have done that, and they actually transferred when they were in college, they're frauds.
Yeah, your
I'd be like, well,
your
that's
statement
cool,
is
man.
not valid.
3 years ago, you went from UAB to West Virginia, to Michigan. I mean, so you got to kind of understand.
Pot calling the kettle black, right?
Lastly, a minute and a half, and you get it all. It's the last time we'll see you until Monday. Bears at Vikings, who wins and why?
Yeah, I think I'm really excited for this game. I'm really excited for JJ in this game. Just an opportunity again for him to go out and to lead a team. Pretty healthy Vikings roster, from my understanding. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But defense is healthy. Offensive line is healthy. I loved your bit yesterday with KOC, talking about the penalties and hey, were the Ravens doing some things? Were they running some shifts on the defensive line? Yes, but we just have to be better, plain and simple. I think that's kind of how KOC answered that question. This is a Bears team you beat once. They're going to want to, come to your place and beat you because you beat them at their place. I think Caleb Williams is playing awesome football right now. I think some of the stuff he is doing is going underrated. They have a pretty good receiving core. I love Roma Dunze. I love what he does. I love that backup running back too. I'm missing the name, Mangami, something like that, right? You got the name on that?
Running back?
Yeah.
Manungai.
Yeah.
Manungai.
He runs so hard. They got a good 1-2 punch now with Swift and him. So I think this is a good Bears team. But I think we can win. I think it's going to be the attitude. I think you're going to see it right away in the first quarters. What kind of attitude are we coming out with as a Vikings team? Are we here to just settle and say, hey, we're going to let JJ get comfortable for the rest of the year, and it is what it is. We don't care about a record. Or hey, we're going to put the hammer down. We're trying to win football games. And I think that's the kind of coach Kevin O'Connell is. So I'm excited to see it.
Tell Taylor I say hi. Thanks for the contribution, and we'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, Big Ten Network Saturday night. My first Big Ten Network national broadcast game. Yeah, Green.
What time?
8 p.m. It's a doubleheader. Nebraska plays Oklahoma at the Sanford Pentagon at 6, and then I am on the call as color commentator as Green Bay comes to Williams Arena and plays the Gophers. So
Doug Gottlieb, though.
Doug Gottlieb, 8 o'clock.
Right on, brother.
Big Ten Network.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
We'll see you Monday.
Yeah, I love you.
I love you too. Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24 via X. TimberTech.com provides the What's on Deck 9 to noon. That includes Vikes Bites around the corner, Florio and PFT after that. The great Courtney Cronin, who covers the Bears for ESPN, joins us at 10 o'clock, and there's much more during the course of the radio show today. So thank you very much for listening to 9 to noon, your cash thing leader.
The Fan, along with two men in a junk truck, want to give you a shot at some bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. This hour's keyword is bills. I pay some bills. A little walking around money with the keyword bills, and all you got to do, enter it in at KFAN.com. 9 to noon. It is time for
Vikes Bites.
Vikes Bites, always brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef.
Jervon Dexter Sr.
You can shop online. Box of meat shows up at your doorstep. Or you can go to Coburn's and Kowalski's locations. Why can't I say that this morning? Proud sponsors, Gophers Athletics, Clearwater, Minnesota's finest, Thousand Hills. Little coordinator's corner here for you as we get Vikings and some NFL wide bits with Florio around the corner. But Wes Phillips, Brian Flores, talking to the media yesterday. Here is Wes Phillips on the combination of developing the kid QB but also trying to win games.
Yeah, I don't think we ever go into a game saying, hey, this is about JJ's development in this game. We're going into the game to win the football game and to set up a plan in a way that helps him as much as possible, like we would with any quarterback that we've been with. But it wouldn't be fair to the other guys to kind of hold back per se. We're trying to set up the best plan for the guys we have, JJ included. But wouldn't be fair to anyone else on our football team to kind of hold back on anything that we felt we needed to go win a football game.
I like your NFL oddities idea for the final hour.
Yeah.
I told you I'd have one or two. I have four. I'm going to burn one right now.
Ooh.
Speaking of J.J. McCarthy, an NFL oddity, J.J. McCarthy had 47 dropbacks versus Baltimore. Since 2000, quarterbacks 22 years of age or younger. Since 2000, quarterbacks 22 years of age or younger have won 11 and lost 77 when they have at least 45 dropbacks in a game.
Oh my God.
The most recent winner was a 22-year-old Justin Herbert in 2020.
Wow.
That's an NFL oddity.
It is. Mike Bite! Vikes Bites continue. We'll jump back and forth.
You hated my oddity.
Well, I hate what it implies.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's what I hate.
But it complimented your some throwaway lines you've had the last couple of days, just in a normal hot takes at happy hour. Why I put this in was because, like, if we were having hot takes at happy hour with Isaac and, like, not, reading from the Tolstoy or crafting, crafting analytical bits that have context and you build up to something, we're just chatting back and forth. No fewer than 3 times have you said, like, JJ can't throw that much. You can't throw him that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So you said that, I remembered it, and we found that. So it complements and or amplifies what the con has said the last couple of days.
No, I love it, but it again, I think it kind of continues to reinforce the complementary nature of how these games need to be won with the roster we have while trying to develop. That's why I included that audio, because I think it's a very, very difficult path that this team chose to go down.
Now, look here, I wouldn't have shared the oddity if you were going to try to get the head coach fired. Honestly, you said let's put some oddities in. You like the ones you have, so I found 4 that I like. Now I have 3.
Oh, Vikes Bites, complimentary nature of things. Speaking of that, it includes takeaways. Here's Brian Flores. Thus far in 2025, a lack of takeaways.
Yeah, we always work on it every week. We talk about it every day. There's obviously a major emphasis on it. And it's funny, the balls, it bounces. It's an odd shaped ball that bounces funny. I think we had several tip balls last Sunday that in other games they fall right into your hands, and this game is just out of our reach, and that's happened a few times this year. Some of those tip balls, if they're not tipped, it looks like a corner's right in position to maybe steal one, but we'll continue to emphasize it.
That's so. It kind of got me thinking, and I'm shooting from the lip/hip here, because I haven't tracked whether it's time of possession, how much the Vikings have led in games versus trailed. But I can tell you this, based on game flow in 2025, the Vikings haven't had the lead as much as they did a year ago. Yep. And I'm just curious in terms of, there's the opportunistic nature of it. You think about the pick 6 by Isaiah Rodgers week 2, even that in itself was a little bit of, it's an odd-shaped ball. It bounces around. The way B-Flow said that kind of made me laugh. But in that's a tip from Hitman that falls right into the breadbasket of Isaiah Rodgers. I think he goes 87 to the house.
Hey.
There's an opportunistic side of it. There's an unpredictable side of it. But I just wonder how much game flow plays into this, where when you're not in the lead as often as you were a year ago, teams aren't taking chances. Teams aren't trying to stretch. Teams aren't maybe trying to push as hard as they would have had to a year ago while chasing the Vikings. The Vikings now doing the chasing. I just wonder, the 5 or 6 different variables go into it, but in the vein of being complementary, That's something that is noticeably absent in 2025, and it's tough to predict. It's tough to say, do better defense, as he says. They work on it every day. But that's something we need, man. We need some big takes in spots as we raise the kid QB, putting him and the offense with better opportunities to put points on the board.
Why, I asked the head coach yesterday about the tip pass, as he calls block shots, the tip pass terrorism.
Yeah.
Is, how do I frame it up? Is it incumbent upon the offensive linemen to make sure they're not in a position to tip those passes, or does most of it fall on the quarterback?
Right.
And he said it's both, and then he kind of explained, but then I followed it up with, well, there might be things you can do off that, right? All right, I didn't ask it right, and we didn't have enough time, but here's what I meant. When I watch these games back, the Vikings do get a fair amount of passes. Not fair amount's too strong. Every team tips passes at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
But when I watch McCarthy games back, I swear defensive linemen they're absolutely jettisoning part of their rush and trying to set up the perfect leap to tip a pass. So that's why I asked, is there something you can do off of it? Because if you see guys just shooting in hard, stopping, and then looking, and then they think they're going to get the timing right to tip a pass, that's by scheme. So therefore, there has to be something you can do off that. But I was thinking pump fake or hitch or something like that, but then you hold the ball a second and have louder and that longer, and that sounds like a strip sack.
Well, and how can you predict that because you would have to call the right play, the right answer to that moment.
Yep.
And now you got JJ potentially in there second guessing. He has a hitch. Somebody comes around the backside.
Agreed.
And disaster ensues.
Box.
Here's what I'll do. We'll pause. I will include maybe a couple more from one from Wes, one from B-Flow during News du Nord, but that's Vikes Bites.
Sure.
Brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef.
Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com. He joins 9 to noon next. Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com, author of a book called Father of Mine, and also Big Shield. It has a sports gambling and persuasion bent to it. PFT.com, ProFootballTalk.com to support the cause. Mike joins us now, and there are some super compelling games this weekend. And your NBC Football Night in America tilt might be the glitziest of them all. Detroit and Dan Campbell calling the plays against the champions at Lincoln Financial. So tell me this is an on-site, full-blown Football Night in America presentation, and good morning.
Yeah, it is for the third time during the season. We're usually there for the Week 1 game, and we were there.
Those are
when
cool.
The season started between the Cowboys and the Eagles. But we were at Packers-Cowboys, we were at Packers-Steelers, and we're going to go to Philadelphia for Sunday night's game. And the other thing that makes it compelling, you've got really the four best teams right now in the NFC playing in a fairly short time period on Sunday. Seahawks-Rams is tucked into the late afternoon 4:05 ET window regional broadcast because Chiefs-Broncos have the 4:25 big tent, big top CBS game. Seahawks-Rams is consequential because they're both 7-2. So one of those teams is going to be 8-2. And the winner of that game and the winner of Lions-Eagles, those are the two teams that are going to, at least for now, be the potential one seed with the all-important lone bye. And let me just say this. We talked about it earlier today on PFT Live, but if they're going to do this flexing thing, the most important windows in prime time to program when you're making the schedule in April and May, primetime standalone games in November. Because it's late enough in the season that the bad teams will have declared themselves, but it's too early to flex. Raiders-Cowboys is the turd in the punch bowl this weekend that we get on Monday night with all these other great games. And whether it was Seahawks-Rams, whether it's one of these other games, Bears-Vikings, I mean, there are Jaguars-Chargers is even more compelling than Raiders-Cowboys. So they really need to look at that because those games in November, you got to get those right. We can't have the Raiders in back-to-back primetime weeks in November when everyone had reason to believe that the Raiders were not going to be a contender, not in that division. So the league needs to do a better job of guessing which games are going to be compelling in primetime in November, because there's nothing they can do about it. They can't flex that one out, because if they could, I guarantee you they would.
Brilliant. With the Eagles, and you watch as much as you can, Monday night, how about that Jalen Phillips, the new Eagle? I mean, nobody cared when he played for Miami, and Monday night at Lambeau, he was a menacing presence, Jalen Phillips.
He had 6.5 sacks in 8 games in 2023 when Vic Fangio, now the Eagles defensive coordinator, was working for the Dolphins, popped the Achilles tendon on the Black Friday game against the Jets. And you know what's weird? And I haven't watched a lot of Dolphins this year. I haven't seen Jalen Phillips in action, but just on the sideline, you take him out of the Dolphins uniform, you put in the Eagles uniform, and he looks different.
Right.
He just looks different. And he's going to play different in the perception of many because we haven't paid much attention to him. And you put him in a defense that has a Jalen Carter that commands extra attention. All of a sudden, Jalen Phillips is able to run free. So as Jihad Campbell, the Eagles' first-round pick, said when they traded up one spot to get him at number 31 this year, the richer get rich.
The Vikings get the Bears this weekend and are favored by 3 and will win because that's what they do off losses. In losses, they have unexplainable phenomena to them, like 8 false starts. How do you see it?
I like the factually correct pluralization of phenomenon, not phenomenons.
Yeah,
phenomena.
Phenomena.
Phenomena. Okay, so. Here's my beef. This is my concern. I feel like some weeks Kevin O'Connell is designing a game plan that is aimed at suiting the skills and abilities and minimizing the limitations of J.J. McCarthy. Other weeks, I feel like he's trying to cram the square peg into the round hole of the Kevin O'Connell system. Too many passes against the Ravens. Got to run. Got to stick to the run. The run was working early. You look at what they did to the Lions. Balance. They need balance in the offense. Running and passing. It can't just be throw the ball down the field. And when you get 3rd and 1, like, I understand there's a temptation to take a shot. It's a great spot to take a shot. But they did it twice and it didn't work out. Interceptions both times. I don't like that part of it. I don't like when the offense strays from what J.J. McCarthy needs. And I know that this is part of a broader effort to maybe try to coax him to a level where he can be plugged into the O'Connell offense. I know this is a longer-term play, but they did what they had to do to beat the Lions, and then I feel like they got away from just doing what you have to do. I think each week the challenge is, what do we have to do to outscore this team? And with J.J. McCarthy, I think it's imperative to tailor the offense to get the most out of what he does. And if I'm wrong, feel free to disagree with me.
Well, no, I understand what you're saying. And in fact, having a 22-year-old throw 47 times over the course of time is not preferred. They just don't win games. But nevertheless, there's so much work in progress here when you have a quarterback at that age and you're getting guys back from injury, like they should get Josh Oliver back this week. But the dramatic swings, they just have to stop. I mean, are you going to be bad or are you going to be good? And they weren't.
Well, it's a microcosm of what the Vikings have been the last 20 years. But it's good year, bad year, good year, bad year, good year, bad year. You can set your clock to it, for crying out loud.
See, they were bad against the Chargers. They, to a certain extent, were bad against the Falcons. They weren't bad against the Ravens. There were just some moments where the game got away. And I think the Ravens are about to rattle off a bunch of wins, by the way. But there
are 3 games this year the Vikings have lost that they could have won. And there's actually hope. Right. My son and I, during the Monday night game, were doing the Mike and the Mad Dog, that's a win, that's a loss. Mm-hmm. And I hate doing that, but I was just curious, like, is there hope? Is there hope? And when you go through the balance of the season and when you consider the rest of the conference, and it's going to be, at the end of the day, Packers, Bears, Vikings, maybe the Panthers, 49ers, and whoever doesn't win the division in the West between the Seahawks and the Rams. Those teams are going to be jockeying for the 3 wild card spots. That's how it's shaking out.
Okay, well, I mean what I say, unless they lose this week and it looks different, but they've been so ferocious and dominating off sketchy losses. So yes, O'Connell 6-1 against the Bears, or something like that. I expect them to beat the Bears. Jordan Love has yet to show it doesn't take him 90 minutes to figure out a Flores defense. I mean, we're at Lambeau last year, and the Vikings are up 28-0 in 3 seconds. And it just took a while to get back, and then they eventually got swept by the Vikings. So, not saying I'm not worried about those two. Of course, people should be. I mean, it's 50-50 equation. But if they win both, I wouldn't be surprised. The next one, at Seattle. You go to Seattle against this ballyhoo team, against your former quarterback who helped you win 14 games. That's where the rubber meets the road for me. With what happens there, I think is going to dictate some things in the future.
I think that when you look at the next 3 games, they need to win 2 of them to be alive down the stretch.
Yeah.
Whichever 2. Pick any 2. It's always better to win in the division, and if they would win the next 2 weeks and then lose to Seattle, that would be acceptable from the standpoint of staying alive for tiebreakers and whatnot, because right now 2-0 in the division. They can double that to 4-0 over the course of the next week and a half. That will put them in good position for tiebreakers and whatnot,
right.
Especially if they sweep everyone in the division. They're, likely going to be the second place team. So it's just vexing. And
correct.
You're right. 1 week they look like they could beat anybody, and the next week they look like they would lose to anybody. And there are just these various, and look, here's the reality with football. You've got, and this is what I said in the aftermath of the Thursday night 10-7. What a weird bookend for Week 10. It starts with the 10-7 game. It ends with a 10-7 game. And both were generally ugly to watch offensively. And you never know, is it because of the defense or the offense? But that's the point. You got 11 guys out there that have a plan. And you've got 11 other guys that have an opposite plan. And you can't always expect the offenses to click. Now, at times, like Monday night, you watch the Packers and the Eagles, and it's like, do they have a strategy? Do they have a plan? Is this just a random play generator? Like, what are these teams doing? So I think it's important to have a strategy. You have to stick to it. You can't stray from it. And I think that's the challenge for the Vikings offensively. They need to design a game plan every week that takes into account the opponent, but also takes into account where J.J. McCarthy currently is in his overall developmental arc. And some weeks, they get it just right. This past week, they were off, and there were too many throws, not enough runs, and that was that. And, you throw in the turnovers and the kick return fumble. I mean, there's stuff that's going to happen. You have to be able to overcome that. The defense played well, but the offense didn't. And, hey, every game has a winner and a loser, and, a lot of these teams are just kind of clustered around 500. In most years, there's a team that's right around 500 at Thanksgiving that figures it out, and that's going to be the challenge. Because as Bill Belichick says, football season begins at Thanksgiving.
PFT. Seahawks-Rams, incredibly compelling. How about the Chiefs at the Broncos? Chiefs favored by 4 in the Mile Get High City. Denver is 1-17 against the Chiefs back to 2015. What stimulates your brilliant mind with this one, Mr. Big Shield?
Must-win game for the Kansas City Chiefs. If they lose this game and fall to 5-5, they may not make the playoffs. And when you consider, since Patrick Mahomes became the starting quarterback in the 2018 season, their worst outcome in any season since 2018 is losing in overtime of the AFC Championship. That's their floor. And the game that could come back to haunt them when it's time to tally up the standings, and they were very fortunate that the Jaguars bungled a 19-point lead in the fourth quarter. That Jaguars game could be the thing that puts them on the outside looking in, because the Jaguars are going to have the head-to-head tiebreaker. If it comes down to one team or the other and they got the same record, when it's all said and done, Jaguars in, Chiefs out. All because of that fall down, go boom, slip six, whatever you want to call that play, where Trevor Lawrence managed to turn a disaster into a game winner. But the Chiefs, if they lose this one, they may not make it to the playoffs. And I think that adds extra intensity for them. And for the Broncos, they've won 7 in a row, and some of those wins are kind of fraudulent against lesser teams. Look at the Thursday night game, the game against the Jets. They should have lost to the Giants. The only convincing win they've had in recent weeks, unless I'm missing one, was against the Cowboys. So I think that the Chiefs, with extra time to get ready, and look at Andy Reid's record coming off of a bye, this is a very tough spot for the Denver Broncos, who still have some cushion and who still very well may win that division. But this is desperation time for the Kansas City Chiefs. And so we know how they play in the playoffs. This game for them has playoff caliber implications because they may not even get there if they don't win this one.
Last one, a minute 15, you get it all. And of course, with the Giants opening.
What if I don't want it all?
Well, take less then.
Right.
Courtney Cronin, ESPN, follows you to talk about the Bears. So now the Giants have an opening day ball out. So of course, there are many-time Belichick to it. But, no chance he gets back into the NFL as a head coach, given, let's say, the whole aura that is Bill right now, right?
My initial reaction was, there is no chance. There is no way.
Right.
He's gotten one interview in 2 cycles. He took the job at Chapel Hill last year after he had done the back channel stuff to figure out whether or not someone would hold a job for him and hire him. And then the attitude that was conveyed by his consigliere, Mike Lombardi, basically, there's no good jobs. The NFL stinks. College football is better. And you sprinkle in the whole creative muse, girlfriend, handler, all of that that's going to come to town. And the fact that, late in Belichick's career, you could make the argument he lost his fastball or his mind when he made Matt Patricia his offensive coordinator. That's what spelled his doom in New England. There were reports that Robert Kraft wanted to fire him after that season and not give him the one last year that he had. But never underestimate the power of nostalgia. And you look at what the Giants have done since they won Super Bowl 46. Their record is abysmal. They've been to the playoffs twice. They've done a lot worse than what having the best game day coach in NFL history could do for them. And if Bill Belichick can convince John Mara and GM Joe Shane, who's going to run the search, that he's not going to come in and try to take over, that he's not going to try to bring Lombardi with him, that he's not going to fire everybody and hire this person, and try to run the whole operation. If he truly is committed to just being the coach and he can sell that he will be trustworthy, that he will live up to his word, that he won't try to undermine Joe Shane. If Joe Shane drafts a guy in the 4th round that Belichick doesn't want, he'll accept it and he'll properly coach and develop the guy. He won't be passive aggressive and try to prove that Shane was wrong. If he just focuses on coaching the team that he has, there's a way that Mara, who I think has an extra special appreciation for nostalgia, and he's dealing with some health challenges now, which will typically make someone more reflective. There's a needle to thread there, but I still think it's a situation where that thread is too thick.
Call you next week, Mr. Big Shield.
See you, buddy.
See ya. Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com. Courtney Cronin, of ESPN next.